Evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. La Republic's corrupt government officials have made recruitment into the public service a master based on family lines. Southern Cameroonians have limited chances breaking through the numerous human barriers to securing a service number with the La Republic's colonial government. Even with these limited opportunities, Amazonians are endowed with entrepreneurial spirit and skills to better life in against all odds. Meanwhile, in a move to make Amazonian ungovernable by La Republic, the people of Southern Cameroon have changed their way of life as long as Mondays are concerned. They have embraced sports as an activity to keep them busy, united, and of course, keep fit. The joy in the way the people of Southern Cameroon express in welcoming Monday is a clear indication that on the part of the liberation of Southern Cameroons, there is no turning back. More of this we'll see in the full briefings of Undaunted. What have Amazonia been doing in the previous day? Well, we have more in the full briefings of Undaunted tonight. To that effect, we'll get the prime headlines.
Here are the headlines for today. Ambazonians continues to stay consistent with Monday lockdowns. A report from yesterday. University of Boya girls put skills in lucrative liquid soap production. A practical you will see today. Fru Ndi, the hero of 1992, now dies in zero in the year 2023. And in our African report, young Nigerian makes Africa proud. And on the foreign scene, Pakistan's Russia oil import paid in Chinese yuan. It seems like the BRICS is getting ahead of themselves. Now let's get the news in detail.
Our vision in this interim government is to make ABC a leader and a real war horse of our struggle. We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock, 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amba TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian / African movies, global politics, ABC Amba News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amba News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Okpala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tar Paddy King, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG, and People of Ambazonia's position, the Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASCE. Health is wealth, health education, and awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya. Liberation Prayer, an intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Amba. Our Freedom, spiritual awareness and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Amba and Pastor Commando. Church and Politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics, with Pastor Commando, The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonian woman, with Dr. Patience Abiedo, and Lady Casey, Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Ambazonia to the world, with Pastor Commando. Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Ambazonian communities, with Ma Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an Emerging Nation, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war, with Ma Dorothy Ngwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amba Focus, only on ABC Amba Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www.abcambatv.com/subscribe.
The people of Southern Cameroons are very much united when it comes to achieving the independence of the land. The united energy being exhibited by the people of Southern Cameroons is a clear message to the distractors of the fight for the liberation of Southern Cameroons that they are wasting their time. Well, instituted in 2017, Monday Ghost Town is one of the most successful moves in making Southern Cameroons very ungovernable for La Republic du Cameroon. Well, this is where we'll begin tonight on Undaunted. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, Onyi. Well, to give the Monday Ghost Towns the respect due to it, the people of Southern Cameroons have changed their way of life as Mondays is concerned. They have embraced sports as an activity to keep them busy, united, and of course, to keep fit. Joy in the way the people of Southern Cameroons express and welcome in Monday is clear, a clear indication that on the path to the liberation of Southern Cameroons, there is no turning back. Undaunted visited some playing grounds in Bamenda, the chief town of the Midland zone of Ambazonia, and was amazed at the turnout and euphoria.
Well, yesterday, Monday, June 12th, reviewed another determination of the people of Southern Cameroons in demonstrating their dislike of the colonial role of La Republique du Cameroon in Ambazonia. It is yet another Monday, a traditional ghost town as usual, with empty streets, offices locked, and municipal markets locked as well. With all these indicators peculiar to Mondays, the different playing grounds are very functional.
Well, Undaunted visited some of these playing grounds and discussed with some of the members who confessed that Mondays or the lone day that they have their direct contribution to the fight for the liberation of their homeland from La Republique du Cameroon. The fight for the liberation of our homeland from the colonial La Republique is a fight for all and everyone is contributing in one way or the other in this fight. Just looking at my business premises today is my own way. Locking my business premises is my own way of our land must be freed. This is from one of the participants on the playground. So others, Mondays are like a God-given prescription for them to rest from the hustles of life. Another person said, when I get up on Monday, I come for sports. As you see, after sports, I go home and commune with my wife and children. It is the only day that I do have enough time to be with my family and to rest my bones. Even if after independence and the Monday lockdowns remains, I don't have any problem with it, said another person. Now, the sports activities Undaunted visited regroup people of different age groups, the young, the old, and even children, and they saw that it was really beneficial to each and every individual.
Well, moving on, La Republic to Cameroon's corrupt government officials have made recruitment into the public service a master based on family lines. Southern Cameroonians have limited chances breaking through the numerous human barriers to securing a service number with the Republic to Cameroon colonial government. Even with these limited opportunities, Ambazonians are endowed with entrepreneurial spirit and skills to be better in life. A group of students at the University of Boya have come together, formed a group for the production and commercialization of liquid soap and others. They are actually doing fine than some of the slaves working with La Republic de Cameroon's government.
Well, at least 30 women in the University of Boya, the Atlantic Zone, have come up with an initiative to produce liquid soap. The group of women from different departments of the University of Boya, called University of Boya Women Association, said that they have discovered the importance of practical skills that can help them earn some money and make a living. They came up with the idea to produce high quality liquid soap at affordable price. People have been depending on imported products for a very long time, and it's time we start encouraging local production, they disclosed.
Well, according to them, this initiative is to inspire many young youths out there to learn skills because university degrees might not just be enough, especially with the bad educational system put in place by La Republic of Cameroon. Well, in their words, they said, we so must learn skills that we can help to make a living for ourselves and not run into the public service, which is very narrow to Southern Cameroonians, they said, adding that interested students could join them. They also said our doors are open to welcome new members.
Now, these liquid soaps are very affordable and are very available as well. You can also get them delivered to you anywhere in the nation. They come in the form of hand washing soap for restaurants, hotels, and other public places, and can be used for washing dishes and other household items as well.
Well, ABC Amber TV has been informed that John Fru Ndi, long-term leader of the Cameroon's main opposition party, the Social Democratic Front, SDF, has died at the age of 82. Well, below is a profile of someone who challenged the status quo in La République du Cameroon, held the bull by the horns, made Yaoundé shiver each time Bamenda sneezed, but who at the end failed to meet the aspirations of his people.
Now, Fru Ndi was born in Babatu, near Bamenda in the north, in the province of Cameroon. The title of Ni, a mark of respect, was given to him when he was born. He attended school in Cameroon at the Baforchu Basel Mission and the Santa Native Authority before going to Nigeria to study at Lagos City College and work in 1957. In 1966, he returned to Cameroon and started selling vegetables. He ran a bookstore in Bamenda, the Abibi Book Center, headed the Public Works Department, the PWD, football club from 1979 to 1988, and headed the Lions Club International branch in Bamenda from 1987 to 1988. He was a candidate of the ruling Cameroon's People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM, in the Mezam Central constituency during the single party 1988 parliamentary election. Listen to a different RDPC list headed by Achidi Achu, and he was the founder of the SDF, an opposition party, in 1990. He was elected as the SDF's international chairman at its first ordinary national convention held in Bamenda in May 1992.
In the October 1992 presidential election, he made a strong showing against President Paul Biya, losing with 36% of the vote against Biya's 40% according to official results. While in Frundi's stronghold, which was the Northwest province, he officially won 86.3%. That election was condemned as front-led by the opposition, and Frundi and third-place opposition candidate Margaret Bello Bubar unsuccessfully sought for the election to be annulled by the Supreme Court. Amidst the outbreak of violence in the Northwest province that followed the election, Frundi was placed under house arrest in late October 1992, reclaiming that his history had been stolen.
After about a month, he was released on 20th January 1993. Fru Ndi, along with his wife Rose, attended the inauguration of United States President Bill Clinton. He and Rose POTUS, he and Rose were photographed with Clinton and Clinton's wife Hillary, and Frundi's presence at the event had a symbolic impact in Cameroon, giving the impression of recognition and legitimacy in light of Frundi's claim to have won the 1992 election along with other opposition parties. The SDF chose to boycott the October 1997 presidential election. Fru Ndi was re-elected as SDF chairman at the party's fifth Congress in April 1999, receiving 1,561 votes from delegates against 40 for his challenger, Christine Tabatse.
Fru Ndi was the SDF candidate in October 2004 presidential election. According to official results, he took second place with 17.40% of the vote against 70.92% for Beer. He received his best result in Northwest Province 68.16%, followed by West Province 45.04%, Littoral Province 32.71%, and Southwest Province 30.59%. Fru Ndi alleged fraud in the July 2007 parliamentary election and called for it to be annulled. In the election, the SDF won the second highest number of seats, but was far behind the ruling RDPC, which won an overwhelming majority of the seats. After the election, Fru Ndi said that Biya should recognize him as the official leader of the opposition.
Now, Fru Ndi said on November 14th, 2007, that he would be willing to meet with Biya. He said that Biya had not invited him to meet and that he had tried to meet Biya several times, contradicting Biya's statement on French television that Fru Ndi had not responded to his invitation. Now, on 12th April 2008, Fru Ndi called for a national day of mourning on 21st April that year, 2008, to commemorate the individuals who died during the 2008 anti-government protests and the death of democracy in Cameroon.
Fru Ndi indicated that he believed the 2008 changes to the constitution were intended to enable President Biya to be lifelong dictator of the Cameroons and that the changes would institutionalize corruption, immunity, and inertia. Fru Ndi again stood unsuccessfully as a candidate in the October 2011 presidential election, placing a distant second behind Biya. A few days after the election, on October 17, 2011, Fru Ndi, alongside other presidential candidates, called an emergency meeting to demand that Biya annul the election.
Now, in the April 2013 Senate election, Fru Ndi stood as a candidate in one of the provinces his primary support base. The indirect election marked the creation of the upper house of parliament. Previously, only the National Assembly had existed. Now, Fru Ndi failed to win a seat in the Senate. He alleged that the ruling party had bribed some SDF local councillors. John Fru Ndi took a critical stance against the Cameroonian government's handling of the Anglophone crisis, a war that has affected him personally.
Well, in October 2018, Ambazonian freedom fighter then burned down his house in Bamenda. That was alleged, by the way. On April 19, 2019, his brother was kidnapped by gunmen who demanded a ransom. 8 days later, he was kidnapped. Himself while visiting Kumbo, Northwest region, to attend the funeral of Joseph Bendizem, the parliamentary group leader of the AZF. He was released shortly afterwards, with the SDF describing the whole affair as a misunderstanding. Well, that was quickly resolved. It was revealed the next day that the Amazonian had kidnapped Fru Ndi in order to get a chance to talk to him in a video that appeared online. Well, government asked the SDF leader to withdraw all SDF legislators from the National Assembly and the Senate. Fru Ndi replied that he would not stating that doing so would be counterproductive. After the incident, Frundi flew to the United States for medical treatment and did not return until the end of 2020.
Now, in June 2019, Fru Ndi stated that while he was not for separation, the government was pushing him in that direction, and adding that if he was fighty, he would take the gun and fight injustice and for the freedom of Anglophones. Fru Ndi has made a point of always traveling without a security escort whenever he visits the Anglophone region, stating that he is not afraid of his own people, including Union Restoration Forces. The national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, John Fru Ndi, announced he wouldn't be running for another term for party elections, which we brought to you. And he announced imminent retirement from political life on February 11th, 2021 in Yaoundé. According to him, the time to give leadership to dynamic young people with new ideas is now, and that's why he is giving them a chance.
Well, report also has it that Frundi brought multi-partisan to La République du Cameroon. He was the first politician to challenge the status quo while in La République du Cameroon through constructive criticism, which has shaped his nation greatly. He refused compromise but stood for, injustice, democracy, and all that. His name is in the bad books of Amazonia. Well, again, history has it that John Fru Ndi supposedly started as a hero in the late 80s into the early 90s and finally won the 1990 presidential that was never given to him. Well, some say he should be partly blamed, others say it's due to the system. But whatever the situation, the very foundation of the SDF, that today is a shadow of what it used to be in the 90s, was founded on betrayal. Because when Southern Cameroonian leaders around the mid 80s, talking about the late Nangar, Kilo, the Kisobs, the Ayangwes, came together to deliberate the way forward after Cameroon had betrayed them for 3 decades, going into the fourth decade. The initial idea was not to form an opposition political party, but it would appear that Nigerian Fru Ndi betrayed the initial conception of the ADF party. That is the coming together of the Southern Cameroon leaders at a time and forming the party. The SDF could not stand the test of time because the foundation was faulty at that point.
Well, according to Dr. Thomas Sang, he says that what is preoccupying Amazonians' mind is whether justice should be tampered with mercy. For if justice be our plea, no man shall see salvation and allow him to be buried in Amazonia. Some are saying he should be buried in Yaoundé, where he retreated to, and from where he made his fortune at the expense of his own people. Although his life was riddled with betrayals, that is, he betrayed the Amazonian people who originally supported him and sacrificed a couple of people on Liberty Square for him to gain prominence. He betrayed the Bamilekes who originally sponsored him, and some Amazonians are saying Dr. Thomason posits that though his sins are as red as crimson, Amazonians should tamper justice with mercy and allow him to be buried in Amazonia. Some might say if Ahija was buried outside Cameroon, why should me, John, be buried in Amazonia? But in the signing of amnesty, you do not count the dead, so let us give a blind eye and allow to be buried in our land. So many Amazonians also opted in. Well, we brought to you something last month and about an inspirational Nigerian who worked so hard to get a chance at the world record for the longest cooking time for an individual. The world has been watching and waiting for the Guinness World Record to officially award her the record. And while it seemed like the world couldn't wait anymore, Guinness World Record has finally certified Nigerian chef Hilda Efyang Basi also popularly known as Hilda Bassi, the record for the longest cooking marathon by an individual.
Well, last month, Hilda Bassi cooked for 100 hours non-stop, breaking India's Lata Tondon's 87 hours, 45 minutes record of uninterrupted cooking in the process. Today, Tuesday, the record body finally certified her as the new record holder for the longest cooking marathon individual. Well, Guinness World Record tweeted after reviewing all the footage, they said, "We are delighted to announce that Hilda Bassi is a new record holder for the longest cooking marathon individual."
Now, Guinness World Record tweeted after reviewing all the footage that we're delighted to announce that Hilda Bassi is the new record holder for the longest cooking marathon individual. Let's take a look at this video from Guinness World Record to find out the summary of Hilda Bassi's world record journey and the official time they've awarded her.
Here at GWRHQ, we have recently been reviewing the evidence submitted by Chef Hilda Bassi for her attempt at the longest cooking marathon by an individual. The current record stands at 87 hours and 45 minutes and was achieved by Lata Tondon in India in 2019. This is a challenging record, with strict rules that must be followed throughout. Including, there must be at least 2 items being prepared or cooked at any time. And the number, name and weight of each cooked item must be submitted with the evidence. Hilda fulfilled all of these rules. However, anyone attempting a marathon record receives 5 minutes break for every hour that they complete. This is to allow suitable rest breaks for the participants due to the prolonged nature of these records. In this case, there was a miscalculation when it came to Hilda's rest breaks, meaning we are unable to award the 100 hours claimed. I can now announce that with a time of 93 hours and 11 minutes, Hilda Bassi is the new holder for the Guinness World Records title for longest cooking marathon. Congratulations, you are officially a movement.
All right, and on the foreign scene, Pakistan, Russia's oil imports paid in the Chinese yuan.
Well, yesterday,
Well, yesterday we told you that Jane Rickards, an economist and the author of Currency Wars, has predicted the unveiling of a new BRICS currency, stating that it could weaken the role of the dollar in global payments and ultimately displace the US dollars as the leading payment currency and reserve currency. Well, today, Pakistan has paid for its first government to government import of Russian oil in the Chinese yuan. Hence, the development has seen the country take yet another step towards ditching the US dollar in international trade settlements.
Well, Reuters reported that the transaction was the first between Moscow and Islamabad. Additionally, Pakistan's Petroleum Minister, Sadiq Malik, discussed the development, which is another notable digression from the export policy that typically features the US dollar. The dollarization efforts of the BRICS countries have made significant strides in the last couple of months. Instead, as the bloc has continued to make progress in developing its own currencies, it has also championed the use of several national currencies, a fact that has continued to come to today.
Well, Pakistan has just paid its first government to government import of Russian crude oil in the Chinese yuan. Moreover, the change in currency notes represents a significant alteration in the prevalence of the US dollar on an international scale, specifically in the trade settlements taking place between BRICS nations, as shown in several trade settlements taking place in recent months. Malik told pressmen that the transaction included 100,000 tons of oil with 45,000 tons docked at the Karachi port, and the rest was on its way. Additionally, the report notes that the transaction allows Moscow to grow its outlets. Moreover, it continues to increase its sales to both India and China. Now, this is due to the lack of sales to Western markets following the Ukraine conflict.
Now, the deal reportedly also presents a good opportunity for Pakistan, specifically as its financing needs are great. The crude oil from Russia is a new avenue for the country. Conversely, the deal also greatly contributes to the de-dollarization plans enacted by the BRICS bloc, subsequently brought forth by the sanctions that have separated Russia from the West.
All right. After the break, would bring you the editorial.
In our editorial for tonight, we'll take a look at an article with the title, The Mentor Revisits History. President Ahijo declared June 1st, 1961, the morning was over the loss of the Northern Cameroons to Nigeria. Why Ahijo was confident that the British Northern Cameroons would vote for reunification with La République du Cameroun. On the 1st of June 2023, 62 years ago, that is 1st of June 1961, the day was observed in the Republic of Cameroon as the day of mourning. President Ahijo declared June 1st, 1961, the day of mourning following the loss of Northern Cameroons to Nigeria at the February 11th, 1961, while British Southern Cameroons voted to achieve independence by joining the Independent Republic of Cameroon. British Northern Cameroons instead voted to achieve independence by joining the Independent Federation of Nigeria. President Ahijo, who was red with anger over the result of the plebiscite in Northern Cameroons, accused the United Kingdoms of foul play. Many Cameroonians know very little or nothing about the former British Northern Cameroons, which was part of us and thus part of our history, and which is today integrated into Nigeria. Considering that we are in the month of June, the mentor in this article revisits June 1st, 1961, the day of mourning, and also why President Ahijo was confident before the February 11th plebiscite that British Northern Cameroons would vote for reunification, to the point that after the election, he went to the extent of accusing Britain of electoral malpractice. This is part of our history. February 11th, 1961 plebiscite. The February 11th, 1961 plebiscite in the then British Northern Cameroons, like that of the British Southern Cameroons, were both organized by the United Nations. Also, the question that was put to voters in British Northern Cameroons at the plebiscite was the same as the one that was put to the people of the then British Southern Cameroons at the plebiscite. The difference was in the colors of the ballot boxes. At the plebiscite in British Northern Cameroons, the question was whether the people wished to achieve independence by joining the Independent Federal Republic of Nigeria or by joining the Independent Republic of Cameroon. A vote cast in the green box is a vote in favor of achieving independence by joining the Independent Federation of Nigeria. A vote cast in the black box is a vote in favor of achieving independence by joining the Independent Republic of Cameroon. The result of the February 11th, 1961 plebiscite in Northern Cameroons stood as follows: 146,296 votes in favor of joining Nigeria and only 96,659 votes in favor of reunifying with the Republic of Cameroon. Though the result of the plebiscite was clear as regards the democratic choice of the people of the Northern Cameroons for union with the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Amadou Ahidjo of the Cameroon Republic found this situation inadmissible. He did not believe that was truly what his brothers of Northern Cameroons have opted for. So furious was Ahidjo over the result of the plebiscite in Northern Cameroons that his government resolved to drag the United Kingdom's Great Britain to an international court over the conduct of the election. The Cameroon government alleged that Britain intimidated voters in Northern Cameroons to vote in favor of union with Nigeria. Though there was no incontrovertible evidence to substantiate that allegation, the British plea to the court was that the case was out of order. Suffice to say that the court ruled in favor of the United Kingdom by dismissing the allegations that were raised by the Cameroon government. Meanwhile, after the Cameroon Republic lost the case, the way was now cleared for the United Nations General Assembly to officially adopt a resolution to end the trusteeship in British Northern Cameroons. A resolution was thus adopted fixing June 1st, 1961 as the day that the trusteeship would end in British Northern Cameroons with its incorporation into Nigeria. But so disappointed was President Ahidjo that he declared June 1st, 1961, the day of mourning in the Cameroon Republic for the loss of the Northern Cameroons to Nigeria. While Ahidjo was confident Northern Cameroons would vote for reunification, what had made President Amadou Ahidjo to perhaps wrongly nurture hope that British Northern Cameroons would vote in favor of reunification with the Cameroon Republic at the February 11, 1961 plebiscite was the result of the first plebiscite that was conducted by the same United Nations in that territory back in November 1959. It should be noted that unlike the former British Southern Cameroons, where the United Nations conducted only one plebiscite, that of February 11, 1961, the United Nations conducted two plebiscites in the former British Northern Cameroons. A United Nations mission that visited British Northern Cameroons in 1958 reported that the situation in Northern Cameroons was characterized by uncertainty as to where the people wanted to belong. For one thing, Nigeria was soon to gain its independence from the United Kingdom precisely on 1st January 1960. The United Nations missions thus proposed to the UN's General Assembly that a plebiscite should be conducted in Northern Cameroons for the people to decide whether they wish to join an independent Nigeria. The UN General Assembly accepted the proposal and fixed the plebiscite for November 1959. The question that was crafted and put to the people of Northern Cameroons was whether they would like to join an independent Nigeria or whether they want a postponement of the decision to a later date. Even though the UN delegation that visited northern Cameroon in 1958 went away with the impression that the situation out there was uncertain as regards where the people wanted to belong, but Nigeria and United Kingdom, on the other hand, thought they had a better understanding of the handwriting on the wall in northern Cameroon. They were confident that the people of that territory would vote to join the independent Republic of Nigeria. Result of plebiscite shocked UK and Nigeria, but just like the result of the 1961 plebiscite in northern Cameroon that shocked President Ahidjo and his government of the Cameroon Republic, the result of the November 1959 plebiscite was like a bombshell to the authorities of Nigeria and the United Kingdom. At the plebiscite, 70,401 votes went in favor of postponing the decision to a later date, while only 42,707 votes were in favor of joining an independent Republic of Nigeria. Meanwhile, like Nigeria, the Cameroon Republic, French Cameroon, gained its independence from France on January 1st, 1961, with Amadou Ahidjo as the first president of the Republic. Ahidjo's government read in the result of the November 1959 plebiscite that was conducted in northern Cameroon that the people of that territory were in favor of reunification with the Cameroon Republic. This was what they understood by the decision of the people of northern Cameroon to have voted against joining Nigeria and voted in favor of making a decision later. Meanwhile, following the outcome of the plebiscite in northern Cameroon in November 1959, the UN General Assembly then decided that the second and last plebiscite would be held in northern Cameroon on the same day with that in southern Cameroon, and that the same question will be put to the people of the two territories. That plebiscite took place on February 11, 1961, and contrary to the great expectations of President Ahidjo and his government, the people of northern Cameroon instead voted in favor of joining Nigeria. But why did the results of the two plebiscites that the United Nations organized in British Northern Cameroon go contrary to the expectations of the authorities of UK and Nigeria as regards the November 1959 plebiscite, and the authorities of the Cameroon Republic as regards the February 11, 1961 plebiscite? The mentor will, in an analysis in the course of this month, look at what happened, as well as the lessons that can be learned from that by the people of the southern Cameroons. It is said a generation which ignores history has no past and no future. Well, with that, we've come to the end of our editorial of tonight. If you want more of such interesting articles, kindly visit our website at www.abcambertv.com for more. Subscribe, become a club member, and a part of this winning strategy. Find out payment details on your screen. I am Star Smart reporting for Undaunted ABC Amber TV.
All right, thank you so much for that educational piece, Star Smart. And with that editorial, we've come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, let's take a look at our major highlights.
Well, on Undaunted tonight, we brought to you the Amazonian continues to stay consistent with Monday lockdowns. We also brought to you the girls from the University of Boya, the ladies who put skills of lucrative liquid soap production.
Well, we also told you that Fru Ndi, the hero of 1992, now dies in zero in 2023. And we told you that a young Nigerian has made Africa proud. And that was it for tonight on Undaunted, bringing to the news on Church Stories. On behalf of Star Smart and the entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in.
We'll leave you with ABC Amber TV images. Good night and God bless you.